right. We back in the house one more time. One more
One
again.
more time.
One more again. Here we go. Off season time.
Here we go.
Off season time.
Looking ahead
Man.
already. Here I am, Clay from Brooklyn, football with the fellas. And who's here with me?
When your man Mazo, it's all about Big Blue. We are back.
Yes,
We
it
are
is.
back. And I know last week we were talking about, last time was it the D-backs? We were talking D-backs and
We were talking about a couple of things that I wanted to revisit, if you don't mind. I feel like I went off on the deep end a little bit with that trade idea with Kayvon Thibodeau and Tay Banks and a fourth round pick for Cincinnati's first round pick. And I've been catching some flack for that.
as well you should have.
As well I should. As well I should. I might have been slightly overreacting.
Woo!
I'm going to step back a little bit, but not as far as you probably think. So I'm going to say that I still do think we should trade both of them, just not at the same time. I think I'm ready to move on from Kayvon. I'm ready to move on from Tay, but giving up both of them in the same trade, I think that may be overkill. We're selling too low. So what I was thinking since then is maybe we make two separate trades. We put Kayvon and maybe a third round pick on one trade and Tay Banks and maybe a second round pick on another trade, and see if we can't get up into the late first round with two different teams. Teams that need what they bring. And so, if you have the 28th pick in the draft and we're going to give you Kayvon and the third round pick, or if you have, say, the 22nd pick in the draft and we're going to give you Tay Banks and our pick number 34, you might look at that as a reasonable trade-off if you don't have a glaring need at that number. And the reason I say this, a couple of reasons. One is, like I said, I feel like I'm ready to move on from both of those players, but also because you get that fifth-year option. And, I'm feeling like if we could get 2 or maybe 3 first-round picks and control the fifth-year option, it helps moving forward with, some of our finances, as well as getting some good players now in a draft that I don't consider to be too deep.
We're still talking about trading Thibodeau.
I'm still considering trading Thibodeau and Banks.
Yeah. You still want to get rid of him, though. I can't. I usually go along with you, but it's just hard for me. Will we get? Is anybody?
I don't.
Will we get Abdul Carter in here some way, somehow? Will he be a guy we can pick up?
Absolutely. So again, if we keep our pick number 3, we can get either Abdul Carter or Mason Graham or Travis Hunter. I'm pretty sure that the 2 quarterbacks that most people are in love with, Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, are going first and second. And at that point, to me, there's 3 players who are decidedly worth that next pick that we need. There's actually more than 3, but 3 that we need.
We got so many holes. How could you say we? Woo.
Well, I think Ashton Jeanty is worth it, but I don't think we're going to spend our 3rd overall pick on a running back. But talent-wise, I think he is. I think Tetwara McMillan is worth it, talent-wise, but I don't think we need a wide receiver as badly as that. We need wide receivers, but we don't need them 3rd overall in the draft compared to some of the other holes. So the biggest holes, Abdul Carter would fill one, especially if we get rid of Kayvon. Mason Graham would fill one, and Travis Hunter would fill one, especially if we get rid of Tay Banks. So actually, whether we get rid of Tay Banks or not, Travis Hunter would fill one, maybe 2, because he could play cornerback and wide receiver.
Right. Oh man. I just, my head spins.
So I'm just ready to say that it's time to move on. It's time to move on. There have been enough people. I'll tell you another person I would be willing to move on from is Micah McFadden. Misses too many tackles. He's a solid second string inside linebacker, in my opinion. But he misses too many tackles. He's in position a lot. He's very good at getting to the ball carrier. He just doesn't wrap him up well enough, consistently enough.
McFadden, I'm not so. It's okay. He would be okay. I'll be all right with moving on from him. I would be okay with that. Or if he again stayed second string or something like that. But okay, okay. Oh, before you get into everything today, I just had to make this one point. Something I heard today that I know it's going to
Please.
make you go no. Um, definitely make you go no. You remember the time we were talking about the QBs and we talked about um, the bridge quarterback?
Yes.
The word now out there is now they're throwing Russell Wilson's name into the mix for the Giants. And I said, "What?" And then this is the big thing. Depending on who they got, who they picked up, because they're saying that the Giants would then get a quarterback like in the second round. And Russell Wilson with all his experience and all that he would be able to you know, to lead that young guy in, right? And then it's funny. The guy said, "Well, Russell, he's great. He can, he's still, I think he's like 36, something like that, 35, 36 years old, something like that."
Hmm.
He said, he still can throw the out pattern. He can throw the slant. He said,
And he
but
can
he
throw
doesn't
the
have this.
bomb.
Huh?
And the bomb. His
Yeah,
deep ball is great.
he said he can do all that. But the one thing they said was, well, he's not as athletic as he was when he was younger. So sometimes he holds on to the ball too long, which you can't do with our offensive line.
Can't
So,
do it.
so he was leading the league in sacks for a while because he was holding on to the ball too long. But they want him to be our bridge quarterback.
So I'm going to say that I personally don't want Russell Wilson, although I'm annoyed that we didn't give him the opportunity last year when it would only cost us $1 million to compete for the job with Daniel Jones. But it's not going to only cost us $1 million this year.
No, he
Russell
got
Wilson had too good a year to come back on another prove it deal. So I'm pretty sure he's going to want some fairly serious money. I mean, I don't think he's going to ask for $60 million, but he might ask for 25. And I don't think we have a $25 million hole for a quarterback.
no, we
I don't
don't.
think our budget can allow that.
No, no, no. I just
For
had
a
to bring
guy
that
who,
up.
like you said, is not as mobile as he used to be. He's in his mid 30s for sure. I mean, how many more years of Russell Wilson do we have?
Well,
2, 3, maybe.
maybe two, and
Yeah. Now,
it depends on how many
so
more
so
kids he want to
no,
have
to
with
me, that's
Sierra.
a no. I'm sorry.
Depends on how many more kids he wants to have with Sierra. He's
Yeah,
having kids every
yes,
five
yes,
seconds.
yes,
So,
yes. But I honestly, I don't particularly want him. I think he's a better fit than Russell Will. I mean, than Justin Fields, only
you're
because
kidding me. You know
well,
how I feel about
I,
Justin Fields.
I know you love Justin Fields. I like Justin Fields' athleticism. I just don't think he's. So let me put it this way: if you go get Russell Wilson, I think what you're saying is, give me a year, maybe two. I'm going to draft a quarterback. You're going to groom him.
Right,
He's going to learn from you while you hopefully win us some games in the meantime,
right, right,
and
right.
then you move on. But if you sign Justin Fields is not coming here to be a bridge quarterback for a year or two. Wherever Justin Fields goes next, I'm pretty sure he's going to want to be the guy for 3 to 5 years minimum. And I just don't think he's earned that. I don't think he's proven
He
that
needs
he's the guy.
he needs the opportunity. That's the only thing. And think about Malik Neighbors. He doesn't want a bridge. Malik Neighbors wants a guy he can throw him passes and just
Well,
grow
Russell
him
can do
like
that.
that.
Russell will get him the ball.
True, true. Oh, all right.
I'm not, listen, if we wind up with Justin Fields, you know I'm going to root for him. I'm a Giants fan. So if that's where we go, I'll start to try to find the positives in that decision. But if you ask me, do I think that 3 years from now, Justin Fields will be looking back on 3 winning seasons as a Giant, one of which was a Pro Bowler? I just don't see it. I just don't see that as who he is. Could it happen? Yeah, I guess
It could happen. It could
it could
happen.
happen. But it'll cost us $100 million for those 3 years. So if it does happen, we still won't be as good a team because we just put $100 million into a quarterback. And if it doesn't happen, then we'll be a bad team having put $100 million into a quarterback. It didn't work out. So, so
All
I
right.
don't see the upside there. I'd much rather Jimmy G or And there's a couple of other people in that realm, but Jimmy G is the one at my favorite. He's the top of the list for me.
All
He's
right.
only
All right.
33. He's won enough games where you know he knows how to win games in this league. And I think he's made $150 million in his career already. Right? Jimmy G, I looked that up. He's made $151 million so far in his career.
Goodness.
So if you said Jimmy G, I'll give you, $8 million this year and incentives that if you do this, and this could turn that into, 12, $14 million. I'm pretty sure he's gonna be like, yeah, that's fine. I got $150 million already. So that's fine. And if I ball out, then next year maybe you give me 25 or 30, whatever. Like I don't think he's getting any more $50 million contract. Not anymore. I don't think he's going to get a $50 million contract, but he might get 30.
What would be good then? All right. Let's get to. Okay, let me get. I sidetracked you just for a moment, but
Oh
I
yeah,
had
we
to
were
bring
supposed to
that
be
up.
talking about
I had to
other
bring that
positions
one up,
today.
but I was like, Clay is going to
Of course, of course.
he's going to shake his head like, what?
No, no, no. I listen. Both of them, Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. The first step is which, if either of them are staying on Pittsburgh, right? Is Pittsburgh going to let them both walk? I don't see that happening either. I can see Pittsburgh saying to at least one of them, you know what we have here. Come on back. Here's some more money. Take us home. But everybody's acting like they're both going to leave. I don't see that.
It's one or the other. It's going to be one or the other.
I mean, I actually think it's more likely that they both stay than that they both leave. Right? I think it's likely that one stays and one leaves. But if you ask me what's more likely that they both stay or they both leave, I think both stay is more likely.
Yeah, we'll see.
Mike Tomlin is no joke. I think people want to play for Mike Tomlin. That team is always good. They're always above 500. They're always in the playoffs or right in the mix. And I think neither one of them is going to find a better situation than playing for Mike Tomlin.
All over the big blue, I'm trying to tell you.
That's not a better situation. So I wanted to talk about edge rushers, and I'm going to say defensive ends and outside linebackers that are pass rush specialists
Okay.
together, which is what most people mean when they say edge rushers. But just to be clear, I'm not only talking about the outside linebacker types. I like defensive ends. And the first free agent defensive end that comes to my mind, we talked about already, he's also an interior defensive lineman, period, is BJ Hill. He's a
We
free
had
agent.
BJ Hill.
BJ Hill, former Giant on
Right.
Cincinnati, he's a free agent. He is a defensive tackle / defensive end. And that to me is fine. We need a stud next to Dexter, really on both sides of him, on either side of him, but at least one that can play inside and outside, right? But certainly can be inside stopping the run. And then, it depends on the down and distance and who else is on the field. But I would rather have what they call a tight front, defensive end, nose tackle, defensive end, all in between the tackles, and make teams try to run on that.
Mm.
If you give me BJ Hill, then suddenly the Elijah Chapmans and the Elijah Garcias and all the, Davidsons and Rileys and all these other guys we have,
The Phillips.
Notches, Roaches, whatever his name is, Joaquin Nunez Roaches. Those guys, as the third defensive lineman, are fine. It's when they're first or second defensive lineman, they're getting blown out the water.
Right. Okay. Okay. All right. I can see
So
that.
get me BJ Hill. And honestly, this is a pretty light free agent class in edge rushers. DeMarcus Lawrence is free agent from Dallas. I wouldn't turn him down, although he's 33 years old. But if he was to come on a really affordable contract, that's addition by subtraction,
Big
right?
time.
We have him and Dallas doesn't have him. I like that idea.
Wow.
But I can't say he's somebody I have a high expectation for.
It would have to be a contract that was really, really favorable for us. And
Yeah, yeah, because he's 33. And Josh Sweat for the Eagles is going to be a free agent. He's only 28. In fact, he's almost 28. He's not quite 28 yet. but I don't know that he would want to leave the Eagles. Like that team looks like if I'm Josh Sweat, I'd rather be on the Eagles again.
Yeah.
Now, and Howie Roseman knows how to work cap magic, so I don't imagine he's going to let him walk out the door. But he is a free agent technically.
And he's spoken to Mr. Saquon Barkley, and he said, "Hey, you see how they did me over there? Don't do it to
Exactly,
yourself.
exactly.
Don't do it to yourself."
Don't
So,
do it to yourself. Chase Young is a free agent. I think the bloom is off the rose, as they say for him. I don't, he's on the Saints now. He's going to be a free agent. He's 25, almost 26 years old, and
he
never has lived up to that draft status and expectation.
he's
I
not
mean,
there. He's
again,
not
it's
there anymore.
really cheap. Uh, I give him a look. I kick the tires, as they say, but I don't really have high expectations for him. Don't really want him. And a couple other guys. Charles Omenihu is a free agent from Kansas City. Again, he is on Kansas City. Why I wouldn't leave Kansas City if I was him. There's a couple of guys. So anyway, not a huge class, and that's why I think BJ Hill should be a focus. And let's really try to close that deal. We would probably have to beat the offers he gets elsewhere, not just match, but beat them. Um,
Uh,
but I think we should go after him.
that means we
As
got to
far as
fill that out.
college,
We got to fill it out through the draft. Then you're saying too, right?
right? As far as the draft, you know who the number one guy is. Penn State's Abdul Carter.
Oh yeah.
And again, if we took him at third overall, I'm fine with that. And I feel like you wouldn't be upset with that either.
I would not be upset with that. It would. It's funny. It would flip everyone. All the mock drafts are out the water because people think it's going to be Travis for us.
A lot of people are giving us Travis in the mock drafts. You're right. You're right. But I have to say, by the time the combine happens, I have a feeling that's going to change. Because again, I don't know that Travis is as dominant an athlete as people may think he's going to be. In other words, if they both run a 4.4, for example, 4.4 as a cornerback is good, but it's not amazing. 4.4 as an edge rusher is great. So, all things considered, do you want the great athlete at edge rusher or the very good athlete at cornerback? I mean, our team needs both of those things, right? So, I'm not saying there's a wrong answer, but
No.
personally, I think I might be leaning towards Abdul Carter
Yeah, I
again,
like
especially
Carter. I do
about
like
temperament.
Carter. I
Carter's ball
do.
player. Carter's ball player. So that to me is the obvious choice at edge rusher for the third overall pick. But it may not be the third overall pick, right? We may do something else with that pick, trade it down, pick Travis Hunter, pick Mason Graham, trade up with it somehow to get Cam Ward. Like there's other things that might happen with
We
that
have to
pick.
give up the farm to get Cam Ward at this point.
Yeah, I'm not. Yes, I don't anticipate that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying that's an option. That is a possibility um, for that pick. In which case, then we would have to, if we wanted an edge rusher, have to look elsewhere. And there's a couple of other edge rushers that this kid James Pierce from Tennessee. A lot of people are talking about him um, as a viable edge rusher. I happen to like Nick Scorton, the defensive end, and Landon Jackson, another defensive end, because I think they're bigger bodies. They can really help against the run as well.
We need
More
a lot of
against
help against the run. We need a lot of
a
help
lot of
against
help
the
against the
run.
run. And I would love to have somebody that can, step in right away and say, I'm going to make us better against the run and better against the pass, that maybe not as good against the pass as an Abdul Carter or a James Pierce.
How big are these guys? Wait a minute. These guys are big, really, really big.
Yeah, no, these guys are like 280. They're defensive ends. They're
Okay.
legitimate defensive ends.
Okay.
These are not outside linebacker types. Um, Nick Scorton is 6'4", 280. They say he runs a 4.7. Again, combine hasn't happened yet, but that's what it's estimated at. Landon Jackson is 6'6", 275, and they say that he runs a 4.7. Um, so again, I use those numbers just to give you some context. Obviously, numbers don't tell the whole story. But Landon Jackson from Arkansas is a very solid defensive end. And and Nick Scorton from Texas A&M is a very solid defensive end, two-way defensive ends, good against the run, and could put pressure on the quarterback.
Well, I like that. We definitely need that because I remember during the season we were getting pushed around up front, and it was like, oh gosh, we know they're gonna the other team's gonna score, so they would slowly beat us down. And like,
Absolutely. So I'm thinking if you're not at least 275, then you're not a defensive end, right? 275, 280, that's a defensive end, right? A lot of these outside linebackers are 240, 250, maybe 260, and they just can't, you know, set the edge like a guy who's 280, 290, 300 pounds.
no,
Like PJ Hill's like 310.
no.
So that's what I'm looking for.
Oh man, okay.
But we'll see.
I do call it starting more and more. He's sounding like, a really good pick, if we don't pick Travis Hunter. If
And
if a
if
quarterback
we don't take him and he does turn out to be Micah Parsons 2.0, then we're all going to say, so we let two Micah Parsons get away? We had
yeah,
another
true.
chance at a Penn State outside linebacker that was going to be a dominant pass rusher, and we turned him down again?
Right.
Like, that's going to be hard to swallow, especially if he winds up in the division, right? Because what would happen if he falls or if Dallas trades up, but he winds up pairing up with Michael Parsons on Dallas? What?
That would
And
be
Dallas has, I think, the 12th pick. So it's not like he has to fall too far, right? So let me double check that.
if they got the 12th pick, he won't make
Dallas
it
has the
down to
12th
12.
pick. So you know,
He's not going down. He won't make it that far down.
no, no, no. But I'm saying, but they're not that far away
They can move
from where
up.
he probably is going to go. If let's say he was going to go fourth or fifth, Dallas could get a package together that could get up to fifth. Jacksonville is fifth. Would Jacksonville trade back with Dallas, for a couple of extra picks? Is Jacksonville one player away?
No, not even
Jacksonville might
close.
say, all right, you're going to give me, next year's first and this year's first and second. Yeah, all right, you can have Alvin Carter. I'll take three other good players because we're terrible. I'm just, theorizing that Dallas could theoretically move up and get him. And then they have Michael Parsons and Abdul Carter, and we'll never throw a pass again. We'll never be able to complete a pass again against Dallas.
That's why
Not
we
okay.
need a quarterback who can run.
Yes. Yeah, well, yes. Well, we
See,
really
that's
need
why we need the
is
guy who
a
can
running
run.
back who can run and then hand the ball to him and say, please save my quarterback life against Dallas. But yeah, no, I mean, those positions are positions that we need to get better at, but unfortunately, they're not positions that are particularly deep, in my opinion, this year, at least not at the top level, right? There's a lot of guys, I'd say, second or third round worthy um, as defensive ends and or defensive tackles that can help uh, stop the run and put some pressure on the quarterback as well. But if you're talking about that big splash move, this big
Right.
free agent signing, or who would we pick in the first round, or possibly if we traded back up into the first round, there's not a whole lot of guys at those two positions.
Okay.
In
So
my opinion, again, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, this defensive line class is outstanding. They're so deep." Uh, and we said we talk about offensive tackles. I feel the same way about offensive tackles. I think there are clearly some players who are the top of this class. I'm not sure they are all that in a bag of chips. We talked last time, about Wyatt Millum and Will Campbell. I think we briefly mentioned Kelvin Banks, the tackle from Texas.
yeah.
I, those are probably the three best tackle prospects in the draft. I wouldn't put any of them at tackle for us. I would not want them to start the season as our starting tackle. Depth tackle, sure.
Why?
Swing
What?
tackle, sure.
Why not? Why not?
Kelvin Banks is only 6'4", and they say he runs a 5.34. Like, he doesn't look very quick. He's not especially long. I mean, I just think he's going to have trouble playing tackle in the NFL. And again, like I said, Wyatt Millum to me looks like the most athletic of the top tier of tackles. Um, and I think he'd be better off inside. So if you're asking me which of these guys would I pencil in at right tackle so I could move Jermaine Illuminor inside the guard,
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure I would do that with any of them. But Wyatt Millam would probably be the one I'd give the best. Millam and Campbell, I'd give a shot at doing that with the expectations that Illuminor beats them out and they wind up moving inside. I want our second best lineman to be the right tackle.
I asked you this before. That it's funny when we were watching the college football championship game. There's no way
Yes.
we can get like we can draft a whole line because like Ohio State's line.
Can we just put in what do you call those regional picks
Yeah,
back in the day?
I want you, and you. The whole everybody. Come on. I don't care if you're a sophomore. Come on, right there. Why
Yeah, I
couldn't you
feel like
just like?
that's less likely than some of these other plans I have.
We need help up front, bad on both sides of the ball, but and we need to build that.
There's
Like,
no question.
but we need to
There's
build
no
up.
question.
Definitely need to build up that part. Like the it's funny. The splashy would be let's go get the receivers, let's get the running backs lost. But the
Yeah,
game
I
is
don't
won
want
up front, and we
games one
proved it
front.
this year. We lost up front on both sides. Hence the reason why we're picking so high in the draft.
And not only that, but if I hear one more player, I mean not player, fan tell me that we gave up Saquon and he wouldn't have had that kind of year here because we don't have that kind of line. Well, then let's go get that kind of line. So we don't have to give up the next Saquon, right? If we stumble onto another Saquon in a couple of years, I don't want to hear that our line can't provide him with the holes that he needs. No, let's go get the line.
Right.
You just made my point for me. Yes, we're not good because we can't block. So let's get good at blocking. Because if Saquon got 2,000 yards with Philly, sure, maybe he would have only got 13 or 1,400 yards on this team because our line is bad. Then make the line good. You've already lost Saquon. Now let's go make the line good.
Right.
So we never have to hear that excuse again.
Never again. We should never hear that again, ever, ever.
Honestly, as bad as as I would like to add some of these defensive players, if we drafted, Will Campbell third, or better yet, traded down to like 6 or 7, took Will Campbell there, added another pick, and then took Wyatt Millam at like 28, I would be fine with that. Signing Jimmy G, getting these two hopefully stud offensive linemen in here with positional flexibility. Then in the second or third round, we get a Kyle McCord, or maybe this kid Will Howard who played last night for Ohio State. Although honestly, that was just one game. I'm not going to hitch my wagons to him just yet, but I do like Kyle McCord. If we can get him in the second or third behind a good offensive line.
Isn't that the Syracuse guy?
Yeah, Syracuse guy who threw for like 50 million yards and 100,000 touchdowns on an okay team.
Nothing to do with you being a Syracuse alum that you like the guy.
Oh no, please. Not seriously. Like I don't even root for Syracuse.
But McCourt led
he led the nation in yards.
Led the nation, right? Okay.
In passing yards.
Okay.
And I think he was third or fourth in touchdowns, passing touchdowns. Again, on a team that only had one, like I'd say, draft-worthy receiver, the tight end / receiver, Gadsden. I'm definitely interested in seeing him. Whether we get Cam Ward or not, if we somehow wind up getting Cam Ward and McCord was there in the 4th round, I'd still take it.
You would take Ward and McCord?
Yes. Just like when Washington took RG3 and Kirk Cousins. They took both of them in the same draft. I would. And I'm telling you, I'm of the belief that the Tommy DeVito, Drew Lock era is over. Like those guys are gone. So we have no quarterbacks.
Well, we have an option on DeVito.
We have an option on DeVito, and we could bring Tim Boyle back, I guess. But to me, that still says we have no quarterbacks. So if we're going to sign Jimmy G and Cam Ward, and draft Cam Ward, that's great. I would be thrilled, over the moon thrilled. We still need a third quarterback. I don't, if Kyle McCord is sitting there in the fourth round, which I don't see how that's possible, but if he is, take him.
What are you, he's not going to play though.
I mean, we don't know. We didn't think Tommy DeVito was going to play this year, but he did. I mean, I love Cam Ward as a prospect. I'm not certain he's going to be great. I believe he will, but I'm not certain.
I know he's.
And Jimmy G, if we are lucky enough to get Jimmy G and Cam Ward, which seems unlikely, but if we do, how many more years of Jimmy G do we have? But if he's grooming Cam Ward and Kyle McCord for a year or two, then by the time Jimmy G moves on, I'd rather already have Kyle McCord in house.
All right, all right, all right.
Very different quarterback, don't get me wrong, but I think a very solid upside with that young man.
We would have to sell the farm to move up to get him.
Oh, I'm talking about Kyle McCord. I'm saying if he's there in the fourth round. Oh, yeah, no, Cam Ward would take a lot to convince one of those two teams ahead of us to let him fall. I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening.
Just to
I'm
win
not
that one
giving up,
game.
Dexter Lawrence. I'm sorry.
Just to win that one game.
Please, please. Or the 3 games that Tommy DeVito won 2 years ago that kept us from getting Jaden Daniels last year. Like all these culture building wins are costing us these great quarterbacks.
Each time, man. Oh, always like one pick away. Always one pick away. Always. That's okay, man. Man. All right.
So anyway, I just feel like these two positions, offensive tackle and edge rusher, don't have as much pizzazz and bang and depth at the top as some of the other ones. But they are important positions. And I just wanted to kind of throw some out there. And I'm curious to see what our fans think. What the rest of you Giants fans think about the offensive tackles I talked about. We talked about some edge rushers. We talked about some free agents, some draft picks. What do you guys think? Let us know. Are we anywhere near what you would do, or are we out in left field again? With my trading of Kayvon and Tay Banks, have you just given up on me altogether?
I don't think they gave up on you. They're giving you that, but they
Yeah.
haven't given up on you yet. Definitely haven't given up on you yet. No way. But I echo what you said. I definitely would like to know, what our viewers would like to see. Again, we just, I think that a lot of people are stuck on the Travis Hunter. It's going to be the three, the two quarterbacks and then Travis Hunter. But if it's not Travis Hunter, looking at Abdul, maybe Abdul Carter. How's that sound?
Great,
Sounds
great.
sounds
Or
pretty good.
Mason Graham, who I think is a notch below those two, I think, but a
He's a
small
need.
notch.
He's a need though.
He's a
Big
need, and he's a very good player at that need. I don't think he's as good a football player as Abdul Carter is. I don't think he's as good a football player as Travis Hunter, but I don't think he's much worse. I think he's just a little below them. So of those three, he probably is the biggest need, but I don't want to use the word worse, the least amazing player of the three.
You know what? Then the question would be, who would be the bigger difference maker for the Giants? Would they be?
Well, right. And they each do different things. So it's hard to know. Like all three of those things are positions where we need a difference to be made. So would be the biggest difference maker? I don't know. But I mean, you could argue that Kayvon is better at his position than the guys who we have at interior defensive line are at that position, and maybe even better than Tay Banks and whoever our opposite corners, Adoree Jackson or Trey Hawkins, whoever. Right. So in that world where you're saying, well, what's the biggest upgrade? Abdul Carter might be the smallest upgrade, right? Travis Hunter is so much better, probably, than certainly than our number 2 cornerback, maybe even
Oh
than
yeah,
our
I
number
see,
1
where you're
cornerback.
going with that.
And Mason Graham is so much better than our number 2 interior defensive lineman. Is Abdul Carter that much better than Kayvon? I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. He's
So
the
if you're
one
looking
that
at biggest upgrade, then maybe we need to take Mason Graham.
got it. Okay. You see that we haven't picked one yet, right? We just like keep going. Please, someone leave a comment and let us
Leave
know.
a comment. Leave a
What do you
comment.
think? What do you think? Because this one's up in the air right now. We can go back and forth on this one. So, do
Absolutely.
what you normally do. Do continue to like and share and subscribe to our channel. We appreciate that. We enjoy your comments. We try to get back to you as quickly as we can. Um, truly, this is a great time we have in the off season. We're not in Cancun because it's brick where I'm at right now. It's brick. it's
Right,
cold.
right.
It's cold.
And soon we'll be talking about the East West Shrine game, which is coming up in about a week and a half. And then after that, the Senior Bowl. So, we're just getting warmed up. We're just getting started.
Just getting warmed up.
All right. Listen, as always, Clay from Brooklyn, football with the fellas. And who am I here with?
It's your man Mazo. It's all about Big Blue. We
Yes, it
appreciate
is.
you all checking us out. And until next time,
Definitely.
y'all. Peace.
Peace.
Big shout out to El Marquis Productions, the talent behind the music and production here at Football with the Fellas. It's all about Big Blue. Their beats bring energy and excitement to every episode. El Marquis' skills in mixing, mastering, and creating top quality sound make the podcast come alive each week. For your own projects, check out elmarquisproductions.com and take your sound to the next level.